Hello, everybody. Craig Barrowsmith featuring back here on KRFF 95.9, Radio Free Fargo.org. We're streaming everywhere on this blue and green marble. We can get into your ear hole, and I'm itching to do that today. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I'm Wilson. 4 o'clock I get in here. 4:20, open a big fat bag of cannabis news. And boy, oh boy, that's going to happen today. I got monkeys in the news again, man. Stinking monkeys, man. I didn't realize what a treasure trove of newsworthy material monkeys could give me on a cannabis show, but it's happening. In the morning here, we have Country with Trav, 10 in the morning, Monday through Friday. Then you got Automation with Fred, spelled with a P. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, that's me. 4 o'clock, after me, Stinky Arts, Music Mart, Mixtape, and Artemis Blood Shrine. Wraps up your Thursday. Don't forget other days, because those exist as well. Again, I believe God created cannabis for us to use as we see fit, and I show him props every Sunday. Antioch Church, 417 Main Avenue, 10 a.m. We do a recovery class. If you've kicked the monkey off your back or you can still feel him on your pant leg, come on through. Worship at 11. And this is the last Thursday you'll hear my silky voice for a week. Now, I might take off next Thursday. No. Yeah, I might take off 2 Thursdays. We'll see. I fly back in on Tuesday. I just might not want to come in, and maybe I will. So we'll see. I won't be here next Thursday. I'll be in Ecuador, and then next Thursday I might. The Thursday after that I might not be in. But this show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. Black Cottage Alchemy does 1,200 megs of CBD, locally grown hemp, in a little tub with a lid. It's whipped up with some stuff. Put it on your outer body for your outer body. God bless you, Black Cottage Alchemy, for sponsoring this show. You're listening to Radio Free Fargo, 95.9. It's a community radio station. Business owners, managers, nonprofit organizations, you consider in advertising. Why not learn what underwriting is on a nonprofit community radio station instead? To learn more about what underwriting is, please contact us at our website, www.radiofreefargo.org, or at our profile on Facebook. Why not let listeners know that you support the community by supporting a community radio station like a 95.1. My brain, y'all. 95.9. Not 1. That would be 95.8. And you probably could still hear the radio if you went there on the dial. It's snowing in Fargo, folks. This whole upper Midwest has got some turbulent weather. I've got to head to Dickinson on Saturday morning to then get back here Sunday so I can fly out to Ecuador Monday. I probably shouldn't have put all that pressure on myself, but I'm an idiot. So that's how I do it, y'all. 4:20, we'll open a big fat bag of cannabis news. Stay with us. We got music thrown in here, so you can expect some music. Of course, 3 songs. That's what I do. It's a 3-song minimum here. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. But again, them snowflakes are huge, and it just came out of nowhere, y'all. I don't know. It's been a weird winter. In cannabis, what's going to happen this year in North Dakota for cannabis? I don't know. I got to believe the legislators are going to start doing something, because Minnesota, is the 26th state to legalize. And that's got to cause North Dakota some thought in the legislative section. Those little, all we do is talk and we don't do anything. So we'll see. We'll see. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson will bring it to you if anything happens in North Dakota. Until then, Minnesota is racing to get some stores open, and we'll keep you posted on that. South Dakota is taking signatures, so we'll keep you posted on that as well. I'm going to play a song this song's crazy. First of all, rest in peace, Melanie. And this is going to be by her. It's called Lay Down Candles in the Rain. And I was driving back from a reenactment, middle of the night, probably 2, 3 in the morning, loaded. I wasn't driving, but reenactments were a mess, You'd be up, barely any sleep. Even if you were sober, you didn't get any sleep. And I was way past sober. So I was just a mess sitting in this passenger seat, and we were just flying back to Fargo's. It had to have been like in Chicago. So like a 10-hour drive, We tore it out and took right off. And all of a sudden we got like this bulletin. Ding, 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 special bulletin. Ben Laden has been assassinated. And then they played this song, and it's an awesome song. And it just came at just a crazy point in my life. Here's Lay Down, Melanie, 95.9. Ooh, I saw give me goosebumps. Laid out, candles in the rain. Melanie, rest in peace. She also did, I got a brand new pair of roller skates and you got a brand new something. I don't know what the other brand new thing was. I think it might be jeans, but I don't know. You're listening to KRFF 95.9, RadioFreeFargo.org, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I'm your boy Wilson. 420, we're going to open a big fat bag of cannabis news. So stick with me, will you? Now we're gonna do is I got another monkey story in here, and then a little Ecuadorian story as well, just to kind of a palate cleanser before we get into the open bag of cannabis news. But first, programming on KRFF, LPFM, Radio Free Fargo. KRFF is being underwritten by Rough Cut Social. They are Fargo's ultimate entertainment destination for axe throwing. Enjoy fun with family and friends, a stellar team building excursion, or book your party. Rough Cut comes complete with a full beer, wine, and soda bar for your perfect time out. They're located at 1100 NP Avenue, Suite 102 in Fargo. Check out roughcutsocial.com for more info. And like I said, nothing goes better with an axe than hard liquor. I mean, what could go wrong? Check it out. Would you? That'd be great. Okay. All right. Again, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. That's what you're listening to right now. Now, this from the New York Post. Thousands of monkeys invade Thailand city, driving out tourists and businesses. I mean, once I get into this, I didn't realize that we had a societal monkey problem. And we've got elderly people eating up all the dogs. Now, a marauding army of some 3,500 monkeys have invaded a city center in Thailand, keeping tourists away and forcing businesses to shutter. The monks, and that's just short for monkeys, not priests, have become such a significant problem. The popular city of Lopburi is at risk of becoming a ghost town, as Chinese investors are withholding their money until the issue is addressed. Well, if the Chinese people are withholding their money, you know it's serious. Several companies and stores have shut their businesses and fled because the local macaques, I don't know how do you pronounce that, macaques? Macaques. My cock is on fire. What? Harass customers and destroy businesses. Surachat Chan Prazit, deputy of Pengya Shopping Center, told people that monkeys often enter the mall to climb and bother customers who come to shop. Small business owners who rent space to sell their goods often have to fix roofs, windows, and other damages each month. The mall was put up for sale 2 years ago, but there have been no buyers because of the monkeys. And you see these pictures, man, they're stinking everywhere. Previously, a Chinese investor had visited the area to check the feasibility of an investment. However, when the investor realized that the problem of monkey population threatened the heart of the city had not been solved, he postponed the investment. I mean, these pictures are just crazy. So the city center, once a major business district, is now deserted and falling apart. The organization has blamed the city's construction laws, which limit the height of buildings. And that adds to the monkey problem. Chamber chair said he thinks laws need to be changed to allow for the management of monkeys in urban areas. Okay, so now they're urban monkeys? That sounds kind of racist, sir. Pong Saddam. Ooh, let's try to pronounce his last name. Chachan Panich. The government needs to decide at the policy level how it will develop as a historical city. Make it a zoo. Monkeys were once an important part of the city's business before they began destroying it, as tourists would visit to feed and interact with the monkeys. An annual monkey festival is also held in the region, thanks to the animals for bringing people. But in recent years, there have been growing issues with the simians. In 2020, hundreds of macaques from two rival monkey gangs were filmed fighting each other in the streets. Oh man, now we got monkey gangs. I mean, what's the world coming to? We got issues, people. You're listening to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, and we're going to quickly tell you about this. There's a troubled city so dangerous in Ecuador. That's where I'm heading in just a few days. The mayor can't sleep in the same place 2 nights in a row. Durán in Ecuador is one of the world's most dangerous cities, with over 400 people murdered in 2023. A city in South America is one of the most dangerous cities in the world. 400 people were murdered last year. The root of the tragedy is, you guessed it, cocaine. Cocaine and bananas, cocaine and pineapples, cocaine and shrimp. Oh, they cocaine shrimp. It's kind of like coconut shrimp. But anyway, I will regale you with my adventures when I return. Now, let's get into some music. Here's Keep It Moving, Moon Hooch on 95.9. Up next, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. And thank you very much. I didn't do anything. Somebody else did. Keep It Moving, Moon Hooch on KRWF and 95.9, RadioFreeFargo.org. It's a snowing big fat flakes here in Fargo, people. Put on a vest. Put on a little propeller-type hat for yourself. Do it. You got to do it. We're going to open a big fat bag of cannabis news right now, so there's nothing you can do about it. And I won't let you do anything about it. So let's cue it up. Head on to the freezer. Get some ice in that cylinder. If you've got a medical card. We'll see you on the other side of this. Hello, everybody. How you doing? It's Wilson. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. We're going to open a big fat bag of cannabis news right now. You guys ready? Doesn't matter. I'm going to do it anyway. So there. Part of me thought, well, this might be a slow week and I could just take 2 weeks off. But I don't know. I'm here anyway. So let's do it. All right. This is from Cannabis Moment. Virginia senators unanimously approved bill to prevent cannabis from being used as evidence of child abuse. And man, shout out Virginia. Everybody needs to be doing that. Because again, it's one of those things where like a smell can be used to ruin your whole life in a vehicle. A cop seeing a oney on a nightstand could have you deemed as unparentable. No, you're the parent. You aren't a good parent. My words just left me. I went to like a 1-year-old vocabulary. Udum, udum, budum. But anyway, it was just, it was wrong. It was wrong. So they unanimously voted to advance a bill that would prevent the state from using cannabis alone as evidence of child abuse. Because again, if you can't tell in a car, you're not going to neglect. I don't know. You know, you get what? So loaded. You just let the kids stay. I don't understand it. You know, I mean, if anything, I think cannabis probably helps you become a little better at parenting. Your patience is a little up. Do you want to go to the park too? You want to swing too? You know how hard it sucks to keep pushing your kid? When you're done pushing your kid and they do, push me 500 more times. Cannabis helps for that. Anyway, the change is meant to protect parents and guardians from discrimination around cannabis use. They voted 15-0 to report the measure. Ooh, it's sponsored by Senate President Louise Lucas. If it becomes law, the measure would further provide that drug testing in child custody and visitation matters shall exclude testing for any substance permitted for lawful use under the state's alcohol, cannabis, and drug laws. All right. So a person's lawful possession or consumption shall not serve as a basis to restrict custody or visitation. Absolutely. I think everybody needs to adopt this, every state. We are excited that outdated prohibition laws are being changed. Me too. To keep families together, for sure. This is an important part of ending the drug war and decrim that's critical for generational survival, for sure. Wise added that she's thankful for this legislator to take a bipartisan approach to family protections as we continue towards full regulated legalization. Governor Glenn, however, said that last month that he doesn't have any interest in legalizing sales under either of the Democrat-led plans. Apparently, it would allow up to 5 existing cannabis operators and 30 equity-focused micro businesses don't care anymore on board. All right, so let's see what else we got here. What do we got? Here's from Ganjapreneur. And I might have to just go to Cannabis Moment and start reading articles for you. Again, this isn't, if you get bored, I don't blame you. Study. THC blood levels do not correlate with impairment. I mean, okay. All right, so this is from JAMA. All right, this is like a serious thing. The Journal for American Medical Association. JAMA is the business when it comes to, well, anybody listening to you. Okay, so it's a good study and it's a good group. Okay, they say after they studied this, they published a study that blood THC levels do not correlate with driving behavior, highlighting the need for more nuanced impairment regulations. And I love that they start adding nuanced and, maybe we should use black lights and disco lights. And if they start moving a little bit, then we can say, hey, they're probably on something or something, But anyway, let's see what we got here. Researchers have taken a closer look at the effects of cannabis on driving, particularly focusing on old fogies aged 65 to 79. I'm going to be 49 this year. The more you know. Maybe you guys want to come when I turn 50 and sing and dance outside the studio. The study, led by Patricia, alongside some experts, delves into the nuanced relationship between the consumption of cannabis, its impact on driving performance, and the amount of THC found in participants' blood. In summary, the authors noted that although the evidence suggested cannabis use could impact performance, blood level was not correlated with driving behavior. Let's see. They took people who are regular users of high-potency THC-dominant cannabis, demonstrated an increase in weaving and decrease in speed 30 minutes after consumption. Now, case noted point here, they slow down. They weave and they slow down. Now, the weaving ain't great, but you're slowing down. However, these changes in driving were not directly correlated with blood concentrations. Impairment seemed to fade within a few hours of consumption, with the authors noting the associations between cannabis and driving were apparent at 30 minutes, but not at 180 minutes after smoking. So, yeah, I suppose, if we wanted to use some jive terms of the hip kids, if you were all faded off of, if you ate 1,000 mgs, or if you did a 90-foot bong or something, if you did this crazy fry your egg sandwich kind of hit, yeah, you may weave and you might slow down. But you're slowing down. So, I don't know. But after 180 minutes, you're good again. And so I don't know how that works with booze, but so how much money do you guys think Michigan made last year? Any thoughts? You in the back, sir? What do you guess? You're wrong, I'll tell you. Michigan cannabis sales surpassed $3 billion last year as retailers smashed the record in December. Michigan sold more than $3 billion, with stores in December recording stronger sales than ever before. So check this out, 279 million in total sales just in December, just last month. That's crazy. That's insane. So the state's annual sales figure for 2023 amounts to about $305 worth of cannabis for every person in the state. Those sales to out-of-state residents account for at least some portion. The figure also exceeds the gross domestic product of 51 nations. So that's crazy. It's possible the market will continue to grow as monthly sales have yet to hit the plateau, often seen in other more mature states. It's still slightly below the 3.1 peak, so we'll see. There was 2,100 licensed businesses in the adult use market. Okay, let's see what's up with Minnesota, people. I've got something about Minnesota. Cannabis, and again, I forgot, THCA, that is just unfired up cannabis. And as soon as a lighter hits it, it becomes real stuff. I didn't know that. And I'm feeling like marijuana, cannabis regulators and cops, they didn't either. So they're asking lawmakers to fix loophole that allows high THC raw cannabis to be sold as legal hemp. Minnesota regulators will ask state lawmakers for a law to help them police the sale of raw cannabis flower. Briner said the acceleration would help fill a gap in the new rec law that gave her office the authority to inspect raw cannabis flower. How raw cannabis flower is regulated under the rec law was called into question late last year, when medical cannabis said they lacked legal authority to regulate it. That has allowed some registered hemp retailers to sell raw flower, often sold under the label THCA. okay, that might be legal hemp, but might also be illegal cannabis. While it is already legal to possess cannabis and adults can grow a few plants for personal use, it's not going to be able to sell outside of tribal reservations. So the Office of Medical Cannabis has the teams already in the field working with hemp retailers, but without the authority to test and sanction sales, it might be illegal. At the same time, they have clear authority over flower, but does not yet have its inspection enforcement operations in place. So, accelerating the transition and bringing over the enforcement team. Because, yeah, I personally thought, THCA was hemp until I realized, heat drops that A off there. You know what I'm saying? So, let's talk about South Dakota for better cannabis laws. If you're in South Dakota and you haven't signed, make sure you sign. Make sure you sign. And if you're unsure if you've signed the 2024 cannabis petition, or if you want to be certain that your signature is valid, fill out the signature checker form on their website. That's sdbml.org. And so, again, if you're in South Dakota, get a signature, would you? All right. South Carolina Senate continues debate on medical cannabis bill. Lawmakers clash over changes. Massachusetts lawmakers approve psilocybin bill to legalize for therapeutic, spiritual, and medicinal purposes. Hawaii governor says legalizing cannabis can blunt negative effects of other horrible drugs. Idaho lawmakers want to ban cannabis billboards advertising dispensaries in neighboring Oregon. And it's not even necessarily neighboring. Oh, yeah, it is. No, it ain't. No, you got Washington and Idaho. Right? I mean, it's not really a neighbor. Is it? I am your neighbor. So, anyway, we got to read some stuff here. New study. What else do we got? Rapper Killer Mike suggests giving black people control over cannabis industry as a form of reparations. Sure. Why not? I can dig it. UFC warns fighters to stop using cannabis immediately so they aren't punished under California athletic rules, which is kind of ironic. California seems pretty cool when it comes to that. The UFC might have removed cannabis from its banned substances list, but a California Athletics Commission said they could still face penalties under state rules for testing positive for THC over a certain limit. They could be subject to a $100 fine. Well, who cares? $100 fine. And if they test over 150 nanograms, they'll get fined. An email by the trade publication cautioned fighters to discontinue use to ensure you don't exceed the THC threshold. And I don't even know what 150, what is that? Is that how many? Is that 14 bong hits? I don't know. What is it? I don't know, people. While advocates have welcomed these changes, there's been criticism of the World Anti-Doping Agency over its ongoing cannabis ban. That cannabis used by athletes violates the spirit of sport. No clue what that means, people. And man, I'm struggling. Brooklyn Nets and New York Liberty become first NBA and WNBA teams to partner with CBD company. What else do we got here? Massachusetts sets cannabis sale also in December, with total purchases in 2023 reaching almost $2 billion. Missouri, they sold more than $1.3 billion, and they barely been selling. So it's just, but here's the thing. If you're selling cannabis in a state, you got $1 billion market at least. And those are bigger states, sure. But North Dakota, I'd be curious. Here is something interesting. This is from Cannabis Moment. I just noticed. It says cannabis doesn't drive car crashes, study finds. Okay. All right. I don't know where. Let's see. FDA recommendation to allow the use of hemp seed meal as animal feed for egg-laying hens. Good. All right. A new study concluded that cannabis use was not associated with higher odds of motor vehicle collisions. But alcohol drinking was. In fact, high self-reported acute cannabis use was associated with lower odds. So, a new study found that 8 in 10 Canadians believe psilocybin-assisted therapy is a reasonable medical choice to treat existential dread at the end of one's life. That's interesting. That's interesting. So, I mean, when do you think they're going to stinking get it off the schedule? I mean, when is that going to happen? You know what I'm saying? When is that going to happen? Let's see here if I can find something for you. This here's an article here from Cannabis Moment. And I'm just kind of reading articles now because I don't have a whole lot for you people. So, it's still snowing, so you know. One of the co-chairs of the Congressional Cannabis Caucus sent a letter to the head of the DEA on Thursday urging the agency to release more information about its ongoing review of cannabis scheduling under the CSA Act. What its planned deadline is for finishing and whether it will take into account the fact that many states have already legalized cannabis. And that's just so crazy how backwards we are. I mean, 26, 24, or 25 states, I think it's 25, half of the states have legalized recreational cannabis, and the government, federal, is still hemming and hawing. So I would beg you to tell me that it's not about money and pharmaceutical lobbying. Tell me it's not about lobbying dollars. Prove that it's not about lobbying dollars when half of the states have agreed it's legal, and a lot of the people in all those other states do too, but their leaders seem to think a particular thing. And again, I'm still waiting for those horrible fentanyl-like stats that would come from saturating of the markets. If you had a $3 billion market of fentanyl, which you might in states, I don't know, it's black markety a lot. But if you sold $3 billion and $297 million of fentanyl in December, you wouldn't see the decay and the destruction? Of course you would. You would be, I mean, we see it now. We see it now. Fentanyl's killing some, I mean, I don't know what the stats are, but people are dying every hour. We're saturating our markets with cannabis. Where is the deaths? Where is the crumbling of communities? Where is the Kensington Avenue for potheads? If you ain't ever seen Kensington Avenue, YouTube it. And then tell me where that is in California with all the cannabis. Show me these shuffling freaks all hopped up on cannabis, sleeping under bridges, pooping in the streets like Kensington Avenue and fentanyl. It just isn't, Portland. What a crazy place. I wouldn't mind visiting that place, in like soon. I mean, they claim it's crazy. It's like an open air drug market. And yeah, you can get cannabis, but I would argue that's not what's causing the decline in them neighborhoods. It's just, it's there. I would argue that it's probably something that helps a lot of people because of the other issues that they struggle with. But anyway, you're listening to Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday I get in here at 4:20, open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and we're plugging through it now. And I'm reading here now about how a congressman demands answers on the rescheduling review. Now, last month, facing numerous public records requests and at least one lawsuit, so we've had to bully him, finally released more than 250 pages of medical review and other related documents. So he wants to know, when's the planned deadline to publish its draft rule? What is the standard deadline? How will DEA proactively communicate development? The congressman says moving cannabis to Schedule 3 is not sufficient to correct the wrongs of federal prohibition. It should just be removed. I mean, if, in my opinion, if caffeine is not on that stinking schedule, because if you drink too much caffeine, I mean, people I think have died from too much caffeine. And I certainly think you really get uncomfortable. You really get uncomfortable. I mean, if you pop 16 caffeine pills and they were like 200 mgs apiece, you'd have an issue. You probably have to get your stomach pumped. You probably would. So if that's not on there, right? And the addictiveness of tobacco, that's nowhere near any schedule. And then just eat a bunch of kratom and tell me that ain't doing nothing for you. Man, and like I said, now I take I took the professional junkie amount, right? Like, I mean, if you follow the rules for kratom or any drug, right? Cycle it, take it every other day, skip a week here and there, just take a little on an empty stomach. Yeah, forget it. I was a professional addict. I took it all the time, as much as I possibly could get in my mouth, all of the time. And trust me, the withdrawals of that, I mean, I can't even put it into words, but I never want to do it again. I can assure you. And every once in a while, I'll feel weak and think, you know what? Kratom did help me quite a bit. And then I remember the first 3 weeks after I stopped. And I'm telling you, friends, it was gnarly. It was. It just was. But again, I have an addictive personality. I didn't read, I didn't follow the instructions on the back. I didn't, I started with like the smoke shop amounts, and the next thing you know, I'm getting kilos, and not just 1, but 5 at a time, sent to me straight from the source, foreign country. But anyway, it is what it is. And I will be in Ecuador next Thursday, so I will not be in next Thursday. I don't know how to create a secondary show that I could stick in rotation, so I just want to tell you now in advance, there will be no Canna-Talk ND next Thursday. Now, the following Thursday, maybe not either. We'll just see how I feel. I might just be itching to rock, in which case I'll be in. So, how's everybody doing? Just kidding. Just kidding. Let's see here. Let's see if I can find something else to read for you here for a few minutes, and then I'm going to get out of here. What can I read for you? Man, that safe banking really needs to get, and that's another thing. Safe banking. Young Americans are 5 times more likely to smoke cannabis than cigarettes, which cigarettes have kind of came full circle, It's almost like, I'm kind of borrowing this comedian, but it's almost like cannabis got a medical degree, shaped its life up, and now it's being treated as a responsible adult. Meanwhile, tobacco has become the new devil, the new icky. I mean, you could smoke on a plane, bruh. I mean, doctors could smoke while they checked out your vagina. Yeah, I said it. But I mean, they were doing like stinking operations, flicking cigarettes into an ashtray, into your wound. That was the iron, they said, helped healing it, caused clotting to be more effective. I don't know, but I, for one, am glad young Americans are, utilizing cannabis and cigarettes. But, how in the world, how many fingers am I holding up? Doesn't matter. All right, guys. I'm running out of stuff to talk about, and I just don't want to bore you any further. Let me just read you this. 8th Massachusetts city adopts psychedelics decrim policy, pushing changes to pending state ballot initiative. I don't know. Mushrooms were always weird, and acid felt like a drug. It felt like speed with disco light. It was like Christmas lights attached to a speed run. But anyway, programming on 95.9 FM, Radio Free Fargo, KRFFLP is being underwritten by Drummer's Journey. Drummer's Journey offers percussion instruments, hardware, electronics, accessories, and more. They have full service for drummers, including repair, custom building, and lessons. Drummer's Journey is located at Highway 10 East Mall in Moorhead, Minnesota. Their hours are Monday through Thursday, 11 to 7. Fridays and Saturdays, 11 to 5. Sundays, noon to 5. For more info, check drummersjourney.com. They have a profile on Facebook. All right. Well, we got you a little gospel funk here. Corey Henry, Holy Ghost, 95.9. Yeah, it's that Holy Ghost, y'all. Corey Henry, Holy Ghost. And if you ain't never heard of it, get some. Certainly help me. KRFF 95.9, RadioFreeFargo.org. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson is about out the door. You missed it if you hadn't been here. 420, I open a big fat bag of cannabis news. Next Thursday, I'll be in Ecuador. So hopefully I get back. There were 40 murders a day, and it's down to 8. So And they've removed the curfews in the town where I'm going to be. Flying in, it's still pretty gnarly, but I won't be there very long. And then I'll be back. This show's brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook, 1,200 megs of locally grown CBD hemp inside a tub with colloidal comfrey. Just good overall outer body butter for yourself. Black Cottage Alchemy. Thank you for sponsoring this show. I believe God created cannabis for us to use as we see fit, and I show him props every Sunday. 417 Main Avenue, Antioch Church. If you got a monkey on your back or you've kicked said banana eater, but you can still feel him pulling on your pant leg, come on through. That said Holy Ghost you just heard about a few minutes ago, we got some. Uncut pure. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Almost out the door. Again, thanks for joining me. Stinky Arts Music Mart is on deck, and it stinks in here. So it's happening. It's probably going to be an extra stinky show. So I don't know. Maybe you don't need nose plugs. Maybe you like stink. Maybe you like the funk. I do. All right. Well, enough playing around. I'm going to get out of here. I got to go do stuff. My to-do list hasn't even been created yet because I've got ADHD. So I wait till the last minute. I wait till fear gets me, and then I start to plan for the trip. And most people would probably already be done by now. I've got a piece of paper in my kitchen with a pen, and it says TTD Ecuador. And that's where we are with the planning process. And I still got to get to Dickinson Saturday to get back Sunday. It's a mess. I probably shouldn't have went, but I got to see my kid just in case I don't make it back. Feel me? All right. Educate yourselves on the benefits of cannabis so you can educate others on said benefits. I will not be in here next Thursday, so cry for me, Argentina. Until then, David Allen, Judgment Day. Peace.